are live. So, welcome to episode 308 of An American Werewolf. I am Michael Martin, the American Werewolf, and to quote from the great Bram Stoker's Dracula, how few days go to make up a century.
It's a good quote. It's the theme of the night.
Indeed. In the house tonight, we've got William Blaylock at Bela Lugosi is Dead and Stuff.
Yep.
He's got his Bacchus going there. Thank you for joining me once again.
Thank you for having me. I love it.
Yeah,
Finally
man.
getting back to some horror. I like that.
There's going to be some directors like that was supposed to be the idea with Wes Craven, but we see how that worked out.
It was horrific, but no.
Yeah, it was horrific, but not in the way that I would have appreciated.
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely get to somebody like Eggers and Ari Aster.
Sure.
Actually, I want to talk about Eddington. I can't wait to get into that.
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's just going to be too much fucking fun. But for this month, here we are in June, and it is Tony Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And so last week we covered Man on Fire. This week we have, for me, a first-time viewing. I don't own it, so I can't hold it up. We're talking about Tony Scott's The Hunger from 1983. So if you're ready to go, shall we get it going?
Hit it.
Boogie woogie. So not just Pygmy Love Circus, but just not enough people today appreciating Thin Lizzy. So we gotta, bring
Yes.
make Thin Lizzy great again. Not that it hasn't always been great. There you go. So this is from Wikipedia. The Hunger is a 1983 erotic horror film directed by Tony Scott in his directorial debut.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Catherine Deneuve, David Bowie, and Susan Sarandon, an international co-production of the United States and the United Kingdom. The film was a loose adaptation of the 1981 novel of the same name by Whitley Strieber, who actually also wrote Wolfen and Communion, if I'm not
Communion. Read them all except for this.
With the screenplay by Ivan Davis and Michael Thomas. Its plot concerns a vampire played by Deneuve, who bestows immortality and apparently eternal youth on her lovers. However, the latter proves unreliable, and her lover at the beginning of the film, played by Bowie, undergoes rapid aging, leading her to take a new lover, a doctor who specializes in sleep and aging research, played by Sarandon. The film's special effects were handled by makeup effects artist Dick Smith. The Hunger was released in spring of 1983 by MGM, though it received a mixed critical response. The film has accrued a cult following within the goth subculture in the years since its release.
Yes.
Let's go with William Blaylock here. What did you think of this film? You've been talking to me about this film for a long, long time.
Yes, I saw this film when I was a kid. I remember when it came out on HBO, I really wanted to watch it. I was probably 13. And I remember specifically my parents telling me, "Oh, you don't want to watch this." I'm like, "No, it's a fun vampire movie. I want to see this." They're like, "No." And you know how when your parents tell you you can't watch something, I fucking made sure I watched that. I was up at midnight or something watching it on HBO. And of course, I didn't understand half of it. I'm like, there's supposed to be vampires in this. Where's the vampires? But I stuck with it. I watched it then. I watched it a bunch of times through high school. It is, no doubt, it is like a touchstone for goths and punks and just alternative people in the 80s. Everyone knew this movie. And I loved it. I actually sat down and watched it, goddamn, probably October, like around Halloween last year, just for the hell of it, because I saw it was on Tubi and I wanted to watch it again. So watching it for the show, I paid attention to a few other things that I might not have paid attention to. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. And the more I watch it, the more stuff I pick up.
Okay. Hold on a second. We got some comments here.
Already?
It's Slasher Fred. What's happening, man?
What's up, Fred?
I think the opening theme song was a direct influence on the subgenre in the 80s in which monster movies were believed to be history because people had gotten into the slasher.
Okay, you think so? That was Bauhaus doing Bela Lugosi's Dead. It's like it's like ground zero for goth culture. That song, more than any other, launched a million, young lads with eyeliner. And the best part about it is they were actually performing it. It wasn't like they were pantomiming it. It wasn't, Top of the Pops. Tony Scott took the actual band, put them in a cage in a club filled with people and had them perform, so that what you hear on the movie is actual Bauhaus performing a version that is not recorded anywhere except on the soundtrack. It's awesome. Great way to start a vampire movie.
He said vampire movies in the 1980s were starting to become comic. I assume that's what you're saying. You have movies like Fright Night and The Lost Boys.
Don't diss Fright Night.
And he says this movie also feels like a vampire slasher movie. Okay.
It gets a little deeper than that. This thing is just chock full of really interesting adult themes. The one that I connected with the most when I watched it this time was the thing about aging, which, I'm feeling that these days. I've got, arthritis in the hip and in my hand and get the bags under my eyes. I feel like David Bowie, aging, 5 years a minute. That hit me this time more than any other time I've watched the movie.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming, but all right. Fair. Here's the thing. For me, and I don't know if I mentioned this already. This movie is currently available on Tubi.
Yep.
Don't take our word for it. If you haven't seen it, go see it for yourself.
See it, man.
It's a lean 90-minute film.
Yep.
I will say, watching it for the first time, now in 2026, 43 years later,
You're old.
That wasn't what I was going to say, but I'm trying to think of a way to say this. It was okay. It very much had the feeling of a movie that I would have rented from the video store, and that sort of, you watch it, you think it's going to be a great movie, and then you watch it and you're like, okay, maybe for the time, 1983, it's okay. I wasn't crazy about it. I think Tony Scott, for a directorial debut, did a pretty good job. I saw what he was trying to do. I think it's ambitious. There are certainly parts to it that I really like. I love the scene where Deneuve, Bowie, and the little girl are just playing, and Bowie's on the cello, and the girl's on the violin, and Deneuve is playing the piano.
Right.
This is my first time seeing something with Catherine Deneuve in it, although I'm very familiar with the name. Probably the film that I know best, or related to her, is that one Belle de Jour from like 1967, where she plays a woman who becomes like a housewife, a bored housewife who on the side becomes like a prostitute. Or something like that. And I guess during the sexual revolution days of in 1967, that was supposed to be, a revolutionary thing and a good thing. It had that 80s aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of gloss, synthesizing, kind of sound going on all the time. There were some things that I thought could completely have been eliminated. From there, you could have made it even shorter, like Sarandon's boyfriend. There were characters in there that I'm just like, okay. And the problem is, it's not so much that, and let me just get this part out, and then I'll hand it back to you.
All right.
It's not that I'm bagging the movie, because I'm not. I'm not bagging the movie. It's that since, in the 43 years since, I've probably seen Only Lovers Left Alive.
Sure.
I've seen Let the Right One In.
Right.
And films like that have sort of piggybacked off this seed that was planted in 1983. But if you watch like what it actually could become 40 plus years later, and then you watch the original first, it doesn't exactly, the scales don't exactly balance, and maybe that's unfair.
I don't know. I'll still stack this movie up against those other two any day. They're definitely the grandchildren of this movie, and they wouldn't exist without it. And Only Lovers Left Alive has that 90s aesthetic, and Let the Right One In was definitely very European. I mean, this movie's very, very European, but you got to take it into account that it's they made it in 1980, for Christ's sake. It's for 1980, for when it came out in 83. No one had seen anything like that. They were expecting Dracula, and instead they get David Bowie in a sharp suit, and round glasses, playing the cello. Yeah. When I was a kid, I didn't like it. I thought it was bullshit. Like I was like, where's the Dracula? Where's the coffin? Where's the crosses? I didn't understand it when I was 13. But I watch it now, and I'm like, this is fucking amazing. It was like it was a giant music video for classical music. It was wonderful. And every time I watch it now, I pick up something new that's very cool about it. I didn't know that Yves Saint Laurent, the fashion designer, made all the costumes for this thing.
Oh, did he really?
Okay. Just because he wanted to. Okay. That's why it's got that 80s aesthetic with all the shoulder pads and the. But I'm going to say, Catherine Deneuve, Jesus Christ, was she fucking hot in that opening scene when they're stalking the douchebags in that club. Holy shit!
She's a beautiful woman. At that age, she's about 40, so she's not a girl anymore. She's a woman. She's not she wasn't like an it girl. It wasn't like you were casting an it girl. You were establishing a beautiful French actress.
Hell yeah!
Playing this role as a vampire that was probably thousands of years old, much almost like Tilda Swinton in Only Lovers,
exactly.
Had been around for forever. It says the film explores the horror of living forever without eternal youth. And in that sense, it is an original concept.
Yes.
Miriam's lovers gain immortality, but eventually decay into a living death, trapped in coffins in her attic, eternal suffering rather than release. This ties to profound loneliness, abandonment, and the fragility of promises in relationships. Bowie's rapid aging sequence powerfully conveys the pain of disease, loss, and bodily betrayal.
Yes.
One of the things I really did like was that it really sort of got to the point really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have had a whole movie where Bowie, in the final 5 minutes, finally passes into irrelevance or dies or is destroyed, this, that, and the other. But what I really did like was that less than an hour into it, Bowie's taken off the board.
Yes.
He's go like it's just it's happened. And the way that Catherine Deneuve's character, handles it contains emotion, but you can tell she's done it so many times.
Right.
She just kind of moves on like that.
Well, yeah, that's the best part of it. That's that no good character thing. Like, she plays it up like she hates it. She has this loss. She's feeling this loss, but at the same time, Bowie even goes, how many times does this happen?
Yeah.
I love the scene where he gets in the elevator when he's at the hospital. He wants to meet with the doctor. She leaves him hanging for hours, and suddenly he's 15 years older, and he's in the elevator and he's looking at that girl, and he's like, he wants to feed on her. He wants to have sex with her, but he realizes he's 80 years old now.
Right.
And it's just that sort of, that's gone, but it's gone like that instead of having your whole life, to be able to live it out.
It says from Fred, this movie also has an appearance by a very young Willem Dafoe. Yes.
Hell yeah, it does.
It was great to see. That was great. Him and Dan Hedaya. I love seeing Dan Hedaya as the police officer. Hedaya, is another one of those guys that never got his due. We talked about him in, what was the Coen Brothers movie? Blood Simple.
Yeah.
He's great in Blood Simple.
Yeah, he is.
And just another guy who just, if he was better looking, he would be a matinee idol. But he's not, and he just became like a character actor who probably was punching below his weight.
Mm-hmm.
So he would play the villain in Commando, with Schwarzenegger or something. But he was actually like a really good fucking actor when you gave him the script. He always came across as like the B-level Columbo. Like, there was already a Columbo. He's like almost a Columbo. That's why he always had those second fiddle roles, because everyone wanted Columbo. Peter Falk. Everyone wanted Peter Falk. Yeah.
I felt like when I saw Willem Dafoe that he was like sort of, what's that movie that he did around that time that was that's a real cult favorite?
Streets of Fire.
Right.
I love that movie.
I felt like that scene is that almost that character just popping up like as a cameo.
He just moved over from the one studio to the next one, and just walked. Hey man, can I just be in it for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Probably back then, he made $500 or something like that to be in it for 5 minutes. I got my SAG card, let me in. It's all right, come on in.
Who knew he was going to be that big? But that was a good cameo, just popping up in there.
Did I ever send you the video of him talking about The Last Temptation of Christ?
Probably not, but I love that movie.
I'll have to send you. It's like a 7-minute where he's just talking. He's on a stage talking to other acting. It's not inside the actor studio, but it's something like that.
Okay.
And he's just talking about that particular movie. It's fascinating to hear what his take on was it and how he sort of went through the process of, like he didn't have any religious conversion or anything like that, but he said he read the book or he read the script and he understood what they wanted and he just did it.
Yeah.
Like he just did it, that was it, and I was like, fuck, that's,
yep.
Yeah, like everybody else has this huge conversion. Caviezel had a conversion. Jonathan Rumi, now doing with The Chosen had a conversion. He said he just read the script, I understood what he wanted. I understood what he wanted and I just did it, and I was like, fuck. That's impressive.
Bowie was real good in that one too.
Yeah, it's Pontius Pilate.
Yeah.
Okay. In the 80s, we had the fear of AIDS because there were many urban myths surrounding the condition, such as gay phobia. In the movie, Catherine Deneuve is a bisexual vampire. That's true. We didn't have much of that either. Yeah. That must have been bold for 1983.
I would think so. That's a little bit early in the AIDS crisis. It hadn't been moved to the mainstream at that point, but everyone knew it was there.
No, I don't mean the AIDS crisis. I just mean the lesbian sex.
Please, that was groundbreaking, and we take it so matter of fact now, 40 years later. But that's what my parents were wanting me to avoid as a 13-year-old is seeing Susan Sarandon's hoo-ha in Silhouette.
Yeah, there was a horror anthology called The Hunger that aired on Showtime that was hosted by David Bowie.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the movie, but they sold it as being part of that series.
In Fright Night, the character of Jerry wears his dark suit, which is basically his modern cape.
Yeah, that this movie started the whole trope of vampires being
tragic.
No, the suit wearing, urban sophisticates, and the first day walking vampires, because those guys can go out in the day.
Yeah, it's day walking also, and it's set in modern times.
Yes.
Like we watch Dracula movies, it's set in the Victorian area, or like the late 19th century or something like that. This was set in 1980. You got phone booths and taxi cabs, and they're doing experiments on animals, and
Yep.
So this was one of the few that I recall at that time that was set in modern times. This wasn't Castle Dracula. There's no Peter Cushing. I think at that time Hammer did do one like Dracula 1972.
Yeah.
It
was kind of modern. And then there was the one I talked about, the Death Master, which was
I think
Orgo with the hippies, which is another favorite of mine. But this one, it very much does have a castle. I mean, that Upper East Side mansion with the levels and the let's get into the camera work, because this movie was really, really well styled. Number one, the color palette is amazing, all blues and grays, punctuated with like the occasional yellow, the occasional red, but everything was just so washed out. It looked like a noir movie, and all the camera angles are super close-ups on people's faces, which I thought was different than a lot of films that you would see. I mean, they're going right for the emotion, right in here, which is odd for a genre movie. I thought that was really, really well done. I mean, even seeing Daniel Ash with the beginning of the movie is still framed that way, like it's right up in your face.
I don't know if I'll watch this movie again. Maybe somewhere down the road. Give it another year or two. I don't think it's going to be a purchase. That I hated the way I hated Rushmore or anything. What was that other one? What's the one the Kubrick movie we covered? The war movie, Doctor Strangelove. No, of course.
Yeah, shame on you for both of those, but okay.
No, but I like this movie. I just don't know that I'll go out of my way to purchase it or watch it again. However, if I do,
yeah,
I'll try to watch for those things, because I may have missed those things in just trying to follow the story. And then you get about an hour past into it, and what I found myself wondering was, and I was genuinely curious about this, like, where does this end? Like, how exactly is this going to end? Because Bowie's off the table.
Right.
Now it's the Susan Sarandon thing.
Well, you get to the lesbian seduction scene, and then you're like, okay, she's trying to pull her in, and she's trying to convince her because she's not the target. I read something that I didn't even realize until I read it, that she was actually grooming that kid, the violin student, to be the next one. Yeah.
Oh. Because that would have been more interesting than Susan Sarandon, because I just don't find Susan Sarandon terribly interesting.
Well, that's the thing is Bowie ate her. He took her off the table, and she's like, "What have you done?" But you want it. You can't look at this kid like an uncorrupted little girl. This is the kid from across the street who comes over and talks about, I stole a bunch of Quaaludes out of my mom's purse. So she's a little bit corruptible.
You can see
she's like bringing her into the vampire fold.
At first, I thought she was the familiar, the way like Anton Yelchin was in like Only Lovers Left Alive.
Yeah,
he was like Tom Hiddleston's handler.
Mm-hmm.
Getting them guitars or getting them, this or that, or, and then, Hiddleston would just throw a wad of hundreds at him or something like that, that would be it. But that's an interesting idea that they were grooming the little girl to be the next one.
But after the seduction scene, it goes right to, you have an infection in your blood. Why aren't you eating your steak? And you spent, a whole evening at this woman's house. Why? What were you doing? And then boom, boom, boom. That's the punch at that point.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. Less time, focusing on the infection, more time focusing on the seduction.
I think there was that. I think it was toned down so it didn't get a NPR 17 rating or whatever it was in 1983, because it's pretty progressive for 1983.
It's pretty edgy. But I mean, I don't look. I mean, back then you could open the curtain in your video store and there was a whole other section if you wanted to see two women go at it. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying more story.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Is that they rush through seduction to get to the vampire stuff, so they could get to the ending.
Like I said, I'm seeing it for the first time. So I have a 2026 sort of expectation that I am attempting to adjust. But that sort of turned me off. Mm-hmm. Why are you spending 3 hours? Like, what the fuck is, like, where is that coming from? Like, why can't you spend 3 hours somewhere? Like, what the fuck is that? Because before that guy, the boyfriend had no input, like in anything really.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like an hour or 10 minutes into the movie or an hour into the movie, he's just screaming at her about spending 3 hours with a woman, and you're like, what the fuck?
Well,
is this?
it's kind of set up that he's not the nicest guy. He's kind of an asshole. And if you notice throughout the movie, the only people other than the little girl when Bowie sort of breaks protocol and eats her, everyone that they wind up eating are douchebags. Like the yuppie guy with the white shoes, the two douches from the club, everyone that they wind up killing, not good people. And I think the boyfriend just that was set up that way so that you could be like, yeah, fucking eat this dude, which she does because she's starting to get the starvation thing and she needs the blood. So you're like, yeah, fucking eat him.
It said Bowie learned cello for his scenes and screamed punk rock songs on the George Washington Bridge nightly to hoarse his voice from the Aged John sequences. He was reportedly intimidated by Deneuve, but got along great with Sarandon. They even had an affair during filming, per Sarandon.
Oh, that's shocking.
Yeah, I know. David Bowie getting it on with some young 20-something actress.
Mm-hmm.
Deneuve and Sarandon used body doubles for parts of the famous love scene shot on a closed set. Shot mostly in London, despite the New York City setting, with select exteriors in New York. Costume designer Milena Cananero once flew to Rome at her own expense for the perfect fabric for one of Bowie's handkerchiefs. Holy shit. The film is
some dedication, bro.
The film is dedicated to Tony Scott's father, Frank. Ridley Scott dedicated Blade Runner to him, too. Special makeup effects by the legendary Dick Smith. The studio added the final scene of Sarah on a balcony with Miriam calling her name from a coffin to keep sequel potential open. Sarandon regretted it, feeling it undermined the film's rules about transformation and addiction. She preferred a version where Sarah dies rather than becoming a full vampire. Features classic pieces, Bach, Schubert, and Delibes, alongside a synth score. Bauhaus's performance kicks it off perfectly. Bowie called the opening great, but noted it loses its way after, while worrying about being, quote, perversely bloody. I didn't understand the ending.
The ending was a little bit vague. I even can't tell 100% what's happening. Apparently, Susan Sarandon stabs herself in the neck, forces Catherine Deneuve to take her blood, which causes her to rapidly age for some reason. Like why? Don't know, but causes her to age rapidly, and then all the ex-lovers come after her. It's more art direction than really like playing by the rules that the movie sets. But apparently she becomes the immortal vampire and is going through the world with Catherine Deneuve in a coffin.
Yeah, I didn't understand why she started to age. Oh well, I guess it's from ingesting.
For some reason, who knows?
I'm looking at Wikipedia, and it says Tom arrives to Miriam's home looking for Sarah. Miriam shows him the upstairs bedroom where Sarah, starving and desperate, kills and feeds upon him. Miriam assures her that she will soon forget her old life as the two kiss. Sarah drives Miriam's ankh knife into her own throat and holds her mouth over Miriam's, forcing Miriam to ingest her blood. Yeah. Miriam carries Sarah upstairs, intending to place her with her other boxed lovers. As a rumbling occurs, I didn't understand that, and the mummies of Miriam's previous lovers, including John, emerge from their coffins, driving her over the edge of the balcony. As Miriam begins to age rapidly, the mummies become dust. The police investigator returns to find a real estate agent showing the townhouse to prospective buyers. Sarah is now in London with two new companions, standing on the balcony of a flat in the Barbican Estates Cromwell Tower, admiring the view as dusk falls. From a draped coffin in a storage room, Miriam continuously cries Sarah's name. The end.
Yeah, I mean, they set up the ending kind of vague, but also they set it up for potential sequels. Yeah. Like the whole plan the whole time was that Susan Sarandon would die, and then for some reason Catherine Deneuve would be taken out by the mummies. But they chose to make it, sort of a double teaming. I don't know why forcing her to drink her infected blood that's infected with her own blood would make her age, but I guess it's just sort of they're trying to do a turnabout.
1983 wasn't the strongest year for scripts.
Well, it's a movie about a 6,000-year-old vampire. Where did it lose its reality for you?
This would be, and I know that there's a taboo, or not a taboo, but it's frowned upon. This would be an interesting movie to remake.
Yeah,
with
if they did it right.
Yeah, with a much more fleshed out story. Mm-hmm. It could even be like a 1-season limited series. Mm. We start to get in, the background of like John, with Bowie and and Deneuve, and then
that's the thing about 80s movies is they make you assume a lot of stuff from like one scene. Like you have that scene where Bowie's got the 17th century hair, and you're like supposed to get all of a sudden, he's from the 1700s. He's a musician, and just in your own head, you're supposed to fill in the blanks. That's a hallmark of 80s movies where they just exposition of one scene where you look at it and that's supposed to tell you everything you need to know.
Hold on. We got Fred here, and he says the movie has some great practical effects, like the scene where David Bowie is waiting in the waiting room. Yeah, okay. He's aging away. Tony's brother Ridley directed Blade Runner. Yeah, we're going to definitely get to Ridley Scott. Probably look for him to a little bit more maybe than Tony Scott, although I have enjoyed these two films, at least, and the second one to a degree. Yeah. And I respect where it's come from. It is the seed from which other movies have kind of come. I don't know which came first. It's like chicken or the egg argument. I don't know what came first, Whitley Strieber's or Interview with the Vampire. There's a little
Whitley Strieber.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure Anne Rice came out after that. At least she was super popular, but it was 84, 85, 86. I didn't hear anything about A Vampire Lestat until then. But the Whitley Strieber book came out 1979, 80, maybe, even earlier.
Gotta tell you,
At that time, I was reading the Wolfen book. I remember.
Oh yeah, I read that.
When I was that age, and I had no idea until a couple days ago that Whitley Strieber wrote The Hunger as well.
I in the third season just started of Interview with the Vampire because apparently they're going to do the entire Lestat mythology, and the first two seasons are fucking amazing. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Like it was like when they made Hannibal. I'm like, why the fucking nobody asked for this. Nobody, and then you watch it and you're like, oh my god, like this is. And they've done the same thing with Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
Except they've made the vampires completely gay. And they're not even hinting around, like they're sleeping in the coffin together. But I read the book and I'm reading the book and I'm like, this isn't in the fucking book. But I guess the LGBT, like the gay community, grabbed a hold of it. Like they identified with it so strongly, and like became, I guess, Anne Rice's like like most loyal fans. And so,
well, I think Anne Rice is pretty freaking gay in her writing, and I think she might have downplayed it because of the time that she was publishing, but she wound up doing that series of Catholic books about Jesus, and then famously was like, "I'm leaving the church because of the way it treats gays," and it was a whole big thing in the 2011, 2012 era.
Jesus wasn't like gay in the books, was he, or something?
No, okay, not at all. Not at all. Her books about Jesus are fantastic.
Are they really? Okay.
I highly recommend. Yeah.
Okay.
They're very reverent, and they're very historical fiction, but they're really, really good. They draw from a lot of the proto-evangelism, and I highly recommend them. But if you can read Lestat and not pick up on the gay subtext, you're missing something.
I guess I would, because like when the series came out again, I bought like the first 3 books, Vampire Lestat, and I got like halfway through interview up to the point I think where they kill him. They try to kill him, and I didn't get it, and I'm just like, he just calls Louis a mark. He's like, "You're weak." He's like, "I don't know why I just did this, but like you're gonna kill us both." And there's none of this about being beautiful or like any of this other kind of shit. But then by the time we get to the new series, like, here's Lestat's ass, and they're sleeping in the coffin together. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But you don't give a fuck because it's just such a great fucking story. Like what they've done, they've turned it into just gory fucking vampire story. It's great.
We don't want that, but I think the movie with what's his name really set the tone for,
Yeah. Well,
it might be gay.
I remember watching I think they were in the first or second episode, and he's telling Louis, like, "Come on, you can get in the coffin with me. Come on, I'll let you be on the top." This isn't a fucking book. What the fuck is this? But it's still fucking great, so who gives a fuck, really? All right, what else do we got? What many people may not know is that Queen of the Damned with the late Aaliyah.
Know that.
Interview with the vampire. Yeah, I own that, and I watched it one time, and I wasn't crazy about it. So hopefully now they're doing.
I read the book. It was a lot better. The movie did an injustice to the book.
Well, first of all, they didn't. Tom Cruise wouldn't come back,
right?
And then that's a problem right there. And it wasn't accurate, really. It's the 3rd book. Now, this 3rd season of Interview with the Vampire is actually the Vampire Lestat, the 2nd book.
And I'm a rock star now.
Yeah. So it's looking real good. All right. Is there anything about this film that we have not discussed that you would like to get into?
Can't think of anything. I think we covered it all. I just cannot say enough good things about this movie, but I know that it's driven by a lot of 13-year-old proto-punk rock sort of nostalgia from 40 years ago.
Yeah, is it rose-colored glasses?
Not really, because I watched it.
That's true.
In the last year and enjoyed it both times.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's get to the part then in the stream where we rate the film. This channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5 up by halves. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather pick my nose with a lit match all the way to 5, which is this is the journey, this is the destination, this is why I watch films in the first place. What would you give Tony Scott's The Hunger?
Definitely give it a solid 4. It's definitely a good film. I wouldn't elevate it to the point of cinema. It doesn't rank up there. It is simply a really smart, really well done, very artistic genre film. As smart as it is and as stylistic as it is, it doesn't elevate to a 5, but it's definitely a solid 4. And 6 months from now, I'll probably sit and watch that thing again because I'm in love with Catherine Deneuve as the vampire. As much as I like Parker Posey as a vampire too. Like,
we'll have to cover Belle de Jour at some point to make you happy. You could see her when she was like 21 or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, for my part, I'm going to give this, and I say this with respect, I'm going to give it a solid 3.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a solid 3. It's ambitious. It's the first of later movies that we've discussed on the show and very much respected and appreciated. It's got some holes. It's got some holes and it's got some unnecessary parts. I love Deneuve. I think she's great. I love Bowie.
How can you not?
Up until the aging point, he's kind of there almost as a visual aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know, it's not his acting because technically anybody could have played that role. Like he could have been somebody else, but it wouldn't have been the visual aesthetic of David Bowie.
Yeah.
You know, which in of itself is a success.
That was the start of his 80s, film sort of push, because it seemed like every time he turned around, Bowie was popping up in another movie from like 1980 all the way to 1990.
Well, when he did that thing with Bing Crosby for Christmas and people accepted it, you knew he had broken through into the mainstream singing The Little Drummer Boy.
Yeah, so, that was The Man Who Fell to Earth, his science fiction movie.
Yeah.
But, he was making a serious run as a actor in the 80s, and people were giving him every chance, from Basquiat to Last Temptation to,
Labyrinth.
Mr. Lawrence,
Yeah, don't forget Labyrinth.
Right.
And he was successful at it because he was an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell he took it seriously. Like, you don't learn to play the cello for a movie you're going to be in for 45 minutes, but he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just learned to play the cello. So
But being Bowie, he has a very limited range, and this movie is perfect for him because he's a natural vampire.
Yeah. It's like people talking about Gal Gadot. She's like the perfect choice for Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
She can do that stoic sort of.
Much else.
Yeah, she can't do much else. But I mean, she's fantastic to look at, and no one gives a fuck.
Yes.
So you're like, yeah, you want to put the Israeli supermodel there on the screen again for my 55-inch television? No problem. She's got great legs, and so it works. But I'll give it a solid 3.
Okay.
It had some holes. It had short in some places, too short in some places, too long in some others.
Mm-hmm.
And even a couple of unnecessary characters. Like that boyfriend didn't have to be there. But for a first directorial debut, sure, no problem. And he came along fast. So I give it a 3. All right, William Blaylock, plug something.
Look for my band, Ye Old Bottom Turns. We play surf music at the Jersey Shore. We'll be playing soon. I don't have details, but you'll hear them here first, I'm sure.
You and I should talk. Let me know if you're interested in an extra Melvin's Tomahawk ticket.
Oh, possibly.
All right, it is in my possession, so let me know. For this channel, we will be back next week with some more Tony Scott. And the plan is, with all of these directors, if I can help it, I'll find at least 2 movies that I haven't seen before. So this is a first-time viewing. I'm content. Next week, though, is going to be one of my favorite Tony Scott movies. We're talking about True Romance.
Yep.
And so that is just an all-time favorite movie. I haven't watched it in a very long time. I happen to have a copy on DVD, so I'm looking forward to that. All right, my thanks to William Blaylock. We got to hopefully John will be back with us soon.
Oh yeah, get well, Johnny.
Yeah, John K. Alvarez out there, currently in the hospital, recovering from a little elective surgery, and we hope that he'll be back with us soon and back to full strength. So, we will see you all in the next video. All right.